Hi everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the book Refuge and welcome to my 2021 reading stats. I decided to make this a separate video because I wanted to kind of like deep dive into my stats a little bit and just kind of gush about them, and my December stats video was already long enough as it was, so I was like, we'll just make it separate and give myself more content to upload because who doesn't want that? So anyway, first off, I want to say that I do have a couple of disparities in the stats, which you'll see in a minute. And a lot of that comes from, number one, I've changed like through the year what I was counting as a book read, particularly when it has to do with DNFs. So at the beginning of the year, I wasn't counting a DNF in my totals at all, but because Goodreads counts it in there, I was having these like two different numbers as like this big disparity between, not a huge disparity, but like you don't have a DNF shelf where you can put a book that it's not included with your books read for the year. Like there's probably a way to figure that out, but I wanted it to show as like it's a book that I talked about. So I would put it in my read books, but then in my stats, I wouldn't count it as read. I would say it was a DNF. So I have kind of like three different numbers, and I don't know how they have happened, but I know which number is the ones that I have physically read in all of the books with my eyeballs. You know, like I know what that number is. And then the other two numbers that I'm about to say, like they kind of are a mix of like, some of the DNFs are counted and some of them are not. But the point is, it's only about a 30 book spread. And I've DNF'd 23 books. So you think that, but anyway, we're going to dive into these. It's going to be fun. I'm staggered by how many books that I read this year. Really proud of myself. And I'm excited to see what I can do in 2022. And before I go into this, I hope that it is obvious when I say as well that I'm only proud of how many books I've read in comparison to my own stats, okay? I don't compare myself to how other people read, and you should not compare yourself to how I read. I've said this in many videos lately because I know people don't believe it. You're not going to believe some of the stats that I share. You're going to think I've cheated, or you're going to try to find a way. Not all of you will do this, but I have people, every time I share the amount that I read, people try to poke holes in it or show that I'm lying. And I'm just like, I can't help you if you feel inferior, because that is not how I do it. I have this book chat coming out with Charles from Charles on Stereo, who you should definitely follow if you want to, where we talk about reading goals and a little bit of like the prejudice against those of us who read a lot, and just kind of how people look at us or try to find reasons why we're not really reading, whether it's saying audiobooks aren't really a books, which is completely elitist and ableist to say that audiobooks don't count. And yeah, it's just it's a very interesting conversation, and one that I hope you'll check out when he shares it. We talked for like 45 minutes about it. And anyway, but I just want to put that out there. I'm excited to talk about these numbers, not to like show off that I'm better than someone else, but to show off how proud I am of myself and what I've been able to do this year on this channel. And you know, one of the reasons I'm able to consistently put up between 3 to 5 videos a week is because I read this much. If I wasn't reading this much, I wouldn't have as much new content to share. And, you know, that's how it goes. So let's start with kind of the books read. So like I said, I'm going to say that the total books that I read is 748, where I completed the book. The total books read, including DNFs, came out to be 771. So in this one stat, I'm going to show you that I read 771 books. And that is, again, counting DNFs, because one stat, anyway, I've said it already. So you'll see some differences, but the numbers I'm about to share range from 771 to 748. Okay, so somewhere in there is the true answer. So just to kind of break down some of these a little bit, let's continue with this. So that's a total number of pages. of 242,787. And that's only including the books that are completed, right? Because I only entered a book as read, the pages read, if I completed it. That is an average of 679 pages per day. Which makes sense why that's about 2 books a day. Because depending on the romance, you could read 2 of those. Maybe just 1 Outlander book. I don't know if I've never actually read a full Outlander book in a day because I tend to get lost in the story, but that's crazy. The highest month I ever had was actually October, where I read 78 books. Wow, that was a crazy month. And the smallest month I had was actually December, where I read 52. But in general, for most of the months, I hit about 70, or in the 60s is about what I was reading. So that's pretty exciting. That's kind of cool to see that. I like the pages per day is something I'm really proud of. I really like that. So the formats that I read these books in was very interesting to me. I'm really fascinated by this. So I read 193 physical books, 438 ebooks, 331 audiobooks, and I had 90 arcs that I was able to read for authors and do reviews for, which is, wow, when I see that all totaled up, that's really cool. Wow, that is so cool that I've read that many audiobooks. And that, of course, is across like all audiobook formats that I use. Anyplay really upped that number for me to be able to use Anyplay, even with all of its bugs that it has. But that's between Libby, Scribd, Audible. There was a few audio arcs that I listened to through NetGalley. Not a ton. I don't do those a ton. But yeah, that's pretty crazy. I can't believe there was that many arcs. That's awesome. All right. And then this is the one. So these stats for the subgenres of romance that I read, and actually they aren't all, some of them are not romance, which you'll see in a minute. This is based off of the 748 number because they are books completed that I put into my book form. Because there's a book form that I have used to like track my, this genre. Okay. So, wow, here we go. So I read 200 contemporary romance, 174 historical, 218 dark romance, 61 paranormal, 31 fantasy, 34 sci-fi, 11 dystopian, 5 erotic, 1 YA, 7 suspense, and 6 that were other. So, and that total is 748. So, wow. Yeah, I'm not surprised that like contemporary, historical, and dark romance are all really close. Those are what I enjoy the most. I guess I was surprised that I read so many paranormal. I didn't know that. And I'm trying to remember what the YA one was that I read. I don't even know if I remember which YA book I read this year. But that's funny. You can definitely tell. That used to be like an equal stat for me. You know, I read as many YA as I read anything else. It's pretty funny. So, okay. And then this one is really fun. I'm excited about this. I'm excited about this a lot. So this one includes the DNFs, though. I'm going to go over the total of what I rated things. And see, this is where I don't understand where I kind of messed up with the stats, but because this one, including DNFs, says that I've read 766. So this is the number I think would be more true. You know, I think it's the 748 without DNFs, and then that would be 759. So I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm not a statistician. I'm going to try to do better next year and make those numbers match with how I'm tracking my books next year, because I've actually included a DNF option in my form. I didn't have a DNF option last time. I would have to rate it. And so my DNFs didn't get put into the book form. So sorry about that. But anyway, here we go. Here we go. I had 21 DNFs, 0 1 star, 0 1.5 star. I had 8 2 stars, 7 2.5 stars. So you can tell I don't have a lot of lower rated books. I don't read them. I talk about this a lot in my least favorite books of the year. Very interesting. 64 3-star books, 60 3.5 star books, 294 4-star books, 86 4.5 star books, 162 5-star books, and 64 6-star books. So, and that is also including 34 rereads, or 30. So you can literally, okay, so you can almost cut that in half. I didn't reread every single 6-star book I had, but in the month of December and November, I was rereading my favorites. So I had, I believe, 34 6-star books, but then 30 of them, I reread them. So I just want to break that down for you because I counted them in these totals because I did reread those books and they were also, again, a 6-star book. But when you watch my favorites of the year, like, you'll know I had 34 that were 6-star books. Okay? Does that make sense? Cool. So yeah, those are my year-end stats, which is so exciting. My reading goal for, oh, I could show you this. So I made a bullet journal this year, which I shared on my Instagram, so you can see. I am not very talented with my handwriting yet. I'm working on it. It's not a huge goal, but it's like I do kind of want to bullet journal some stuff. So let me show you. So I asked for a couple new bullet journals for Christmas, and I got them from my friend. And I want to track a couple of things. And so I made one for my reading goal. So here's the one for my 2022. So it's going to be 365 books again, which is what it was last year. That's the one that I put on Goodreads. I usually hit that about June or July, but I still like to keep it at like a book a day, right? Because I think if something like were to happen that would really stutter my reading, I would still probably get through a book a day, you know, at least. So yeah, I'm very excited about the coming year, and I've already made a goals video. I've already made my favorites of the year video. I've made anticipated books of the year. So this is kind of going to wrap up the 2021 videos. And, you know, even though this is coming out in January, because I just ran out of days. Okay, I ran out of days to share these videos. So I had to wait till the end of the month to wrap these up. But anyway, I'm very excited for what's going to come next, and thank you all for your support. It's just been an amazing year. I'm so blessed. So thank you so much, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Going forward, we're still going to have our 3 to 4 videos a week, and I will keep that up as well as I can. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.